Welcome to Design Diary, the podcast where you get to look inside my board game design notebook as well as what's going on inside my head. We look at a new word each day from the sense of mechanics, tone, theme, or inspiration for a full game. Today's word is mollycoddle. To treat with an excessive or absurd degree of indulgence or attention. And this is a funny word, mollycoddle. I've never heard of it. When I dug a little deeper into it, sometimes, the idea was you're coddling a child, or, an example here is with eggs, that you're treating them very carefully so that you do not, cooking them slowly so you don't boil them improperly. Another term was, with a mother, or a parent coddling their male child. And I don't know if male and Molly have some sort of connection or anything like that. But in the definition we have right here, to treat with an absurd degree of indulgence or attention, I went with a couple terrible ideas, and I think I settled on one that was decent. My terrible ideas were, and they all kind of the same, but the terrible ideas was starting with a game with a protective bubble where you can do anything you want at full capacity inside of your bubble, because that's where your coddler is there. You are playing the person that is coddled. The coddler is in there and will assist you and do anything that you want. But you need to leave the bubble to learn on your own and to accomplish any sort of gain any sort of ground in the game. So outside of the bubble, your stats can grow, but when you're inside, they don't. When your stats match your coddler, then you've exceeded them or matched them, and you now are on your own. But the whole idea was, if your bubble ever bursts, you're instantly on your own. So the goal is to be as prepared as possible for when that bubble bursts. And I guess part of it would be bursting an opponent's bubble. And I was thinking of physical, like, dome bubbles covering, like, you're like the bubble boy or whatever it is. Like, you go into this bubble and everything's great, but when you leave it, things are bad. So a goal might be to burst each other's bubbles, and you have to learn the ways of the outside in order to be able to burst your opponent's bubble. Because your coddler can only help you inside of the bubble, and they're blocked by the bubble, that they cannot help you eliminate your opponent's bubble. Very weird, and more thematic than anything else. But I abstracted that down, and it's essentially just a battle game where your home base is safe until it's destroyed. The only new idea there, other than the theme of this weird bubble in the middle of nowhere, is that there's a little bit about having better skills at home than when abroad. But that's not even entirely new. Went with a second idea of hand-holding, and basically was very abstract, where you have a unit that's on the board, and you're going to connect this unit through these various branches that shoot off of it, trying to get a branch to the other side of the board. And those branches are the holding of the hand. So the more branches you have, the more protected it is, and the further branches reached, the more that they could do and accomplish. And I sort of started thinking of Suro and how you can, like, bump into or break through or change other people's branches. And I also got nowhere with that. So the final thought that I had, where I actually felt like this feels gamey and right, was a game where it's a one versus many, which, if you don't know what that means, it's one player versus the rest of them. Usually would have to be more players than the one to accomplish the many. So it would be 3-player minimum, 2 versus 1, or it could go 3 versus 1, 4 versus 1, 5 versus 1, whatever. The idea is, and it's going back to the example in the definition, was coddling eggs. And I went with what I always go with, and there's a dragon egg. The dragon egg is precious, it's rare, whatever it is, and eventually it's going to hatch unless it's destroyed. So my goal as the one is to protect the dragon egg. And I'm going to do this, and there's 2 different ways you can do it, and I'll talk about that in a second. And then your role, the many, is to destroy the dragon egg. And you win if it's destroyed. I win if it hatches and the dragon destroys all of you. You can also destroy the dragon if it hatches, or maybe escape or something along those lines, because I want to have this a two-phase game where I coddle, and then an explosion. And you are all protect, destroy, and save yourself as well. So I wanted this kind of two-phase thing. But there were two ways to do it. One, dexterity, which, thinking of like the bubble kind of game. I've got this dragon that I'm protecting. I'm physically building up around it, and you're physically launching things at it, trying to break this egg. I think of like a fake toy egg that you assemble, and it's almost like those 3D puzzles that are really like tricky to assemble, like this 3D egg, and then it's like one touch and it's done. So like you're doing a variety of things to try to break that. But I don't even know how you would represent the dragon coming out and things like that. So the other one I thought was just through card play. And basically, my player is building this, this domain around, not physically around, but around this dragon egg. And it could be physically. And it's various forms of protection, various forms of line of sight and view, and some ways to hide where the dragon egg is within my little domain. And then your job is to advance on me and, use attacks through whatever means it is, card play or dice or whatever it is. But I thought what would be great about it is, if I can see you, I've got this line of sight and this distance and whatever range. But overnight you get closer to me, or you can get closer to me, and I don't see during the nighttime phase. So having a day phase and a night phase allows the many players to advance closer without being super obvious and lead to a little bit of the element of surprise. So I don't know how it would work. I think of almost like a castle panic, where I play the castle and the rest of the players are the invaders, and that has that physical aspect to it. But then I thought of simply just a card game where you're simply playing cards that allow you to advance on me without the physical, representation of advancing. I'm, buffing up my stats without the physical, castle going around me or trees or protection or whatever I protect the egg with. Face down cards, face up cards, things like that. So I think there's a variety of ways to go about it. It's more of a theme than anything else, but the one versus many protection is the kind of the dragon egg / mollycoddling that I can kind of bring into all of it. So that's all I got today. I had more on the other bad ideas, but I feel like they were bad. So I'd love to hear what you have, and I'd love to look forward to a day with a word that I can embrace and enjoy a little bit more. Although I did like the last part of this. So let me know if you have anything, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.